Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 6 for the Masters in Technology Management Capstone program. This is NZaccardi. The topic for this week is leadership. We have 3 learning objectives: review core qualities that make an effective leader, understand the different leadership styles, and keys to inspire leadership. I have a little quote here. So, leadership is action, not position. I think that's important, and you'll see that trend throughout the presentation. So leadership qualities, what makes up a good leader? You'll notice that a lot of these qualities are tied to not just leadership, but being a good person: honesty, integrity, confidence, inspiring others, commitment and compassion, a good communicator, decision-making capabilities, accountability, delegation and empowerment, creativity and innovation, and empathy. Uh, these qualities are important for leadership, but also important as just an individual contributor to an organization or outside of work. I added a Wordle here. Wordles are a great learning tool. They tie adjectives and synonyms associated with a keyword, in this case leadership, so it has different words that tie to leadership qualities. Continuing on leadership qualities, I did want to add a graphic here. These are management tips for great leaders. And I did want to highlight these. A lot of these correlate to effective communication in last week's lesson, but I did want to just comment here. So sharing information, it's definitely tied to communication and effective communication, but ensuring that your team understands objectives and what you want from them is really important. The next one, say thanks. Say thank you for the big things, but also the little things. It's important to have that communication with your teams. Empower through delegation. So this is a tough one. What I find with myself is I like to do things myself, and in order to grow your team as leaders, you need to delegate some of that work and then train your or update or give feedback to your team related to what they did well and what they maybe need to work on. Adjusting your style, I'm going to cover this a little later in the different leadership styles. Set small milestones. So this is about objectives. This also ties to saying thanks. So give small milestones that your teammates and your direct reports can accomplish, and then say thank you for them. Have fun. So work, by definition, doesn't really mean fun, but have fun. Build a relationship with your team. If you have a personal relationship with your team, their productivity goes up. Remove obstacles. As a manager, as a boss, that's your primary role, is to support your team and make sure that they can do their job. Give feedback and touch base on that a little bit. Raise your hand. So this is basically inspiring by action so that they follow your lead. And then focus your time. So in IT, in project management, the 80-20 rule is a goal there, and you want to make sure that you're using your time effectively and wisely. So leadership styles. I'm going to go pretty quick here because there's a lot of information, and I apologize for all the text, but it's a very important piece to understanding you as a leader and how to lead different groups and different people and lead effectively. So transformational leadership. Transformational leadership really highlights inspiring your staff through communication and creating an environment of intellectual stimulation. Transactional, this focuses more on group organization and implementing a reward approach to management activity. So this ties to setting those objectives and those small wins for your team. Servant, so this is power sharing, a power sharing model of leadership, and also a collective decision making. It ties into the democratic method, which I'll talk about in a minute. Autocratic. This one's interesting. This is the iron fist ruling, that you are kind of a tyrant. It's interesting. It can work in certain organizations. I have not experienced autocratic in my 20-year career. Laissez-faire. This is another one that I haven't really experienced, but this is a hands-off approach, allowing employees to do the tasks that they see fit to execute your objectives. To continue, so the democratic is participative leadership. I have seen this work effectively. This is working with your teams. It's a constant asking for input from team members and then collating that information and making a final overall decision. Bureaucratic, this is sometimes implemented in federally regulated or administrative environments. It ties to strict rules, a defined hierarchy. There's a lot of structure with bureaucratic leadership. Charismatic, this ties to transformational leadership. However, it does differ where the success of the projects and initiatives are closely related to the presence of the leader. So the leader is heavily involved. And then situational, I'm going to talk a little bit about this because I truly think that the best leaders use a combination of these different leadership styles depending on the situation. And that's really what's highlighted here. For example, you may switch to a democratic leadership when discussing certain projects with senior executives, but switch to more of a bureaucratic strategy when relaying new factory protocols to workers. So the next slide, bit of situational leadership. So you need to understand your audience with situational leadership. So you analyze your audience, you understand what they're looking for, what their interests are, their demographics. So logistically, they may be in different locations, different levels of management, the environment. So depending if you're in a factory or if you're in an office, what they're looking for. This is a key piece here. So needs and expectations kind of tie together. But if I'm presenting to my boss or senior executives in my current role, I focus on timeline and cost. However, from a customization standpoint, I adjust my message and my content if I'm delivering it to my team to really focus on the objectives and the scope, if you will, or the content rather than cost and time, where they come later. Inspire people. So how inspiring leadership. Some of the keys here are face challenges. So great leaders are brave enough to face challenging situations and deal with them honestly. So you're going to see some of the characteristics of a good leader come out here. Win trust. Trust is a key word. Employees are more loyal and enthusiastic when they work in an environment run by people they trust. That makes sense, right? Take an interest in your employees. Ask how their weekend was. Ask how their family is. Building trust actually increases productivity. Be authentic or be real. Use your strengths and personality traits to develop your personal leadership style. So sometimes humor can be good here. Humor breaks the ice a little bit. Earn respect. So conduct yourself in an ethical way to model the traits you want to see in others. Also, I have my team. It's interesting because I didn't tell them this, but I usually get to the office around 7:30, and over the last probably 10 months, every one of my team members is either in the office before me or at the same time. They see my actions and then they adjust their actions to mirror what I'm doing. And what that does is it increases productivity and it's an overall positive impact to the workplace. And then stay curious. Great leaders remain curious. They're committed to learning. They're inquisitive. They always look for new ideas, insights, information, and innovation. I did add some leadership quotes here, and I'm going to read through them very quickly. So the first one, the greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He is the one who gets the people to do the greatest things. Lead by example. That's Ronald Reagan. A leader takes people where they want to go. A great leader takes people where they don't necessarily want to go, but ought to be. Rosalind Carter. Before you are a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is all about growing others. Jack Welch, GE. The challenge of leadership is to be strong but not rude, be kind but not weak, be bold but not a bully, be thoughtful but not lazy, be humble but not timid, be proud but not arrogant, have humor but without folly. That's Jim Rohn. And the last one, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. John Quincy Adams. Discussion questions this week. Have you ever experienced an ineffective leader? So I'm kind of switching this on its head a little bit. What were some of the qualities this leader had to make them ineffective? Sometimes thinking about what you don't want to be will make you a better leader. What leadership style are you? Give an example of this leadership style. Also, if you can touch base on an industry um, that you're in and why that leadership style is effective in that industry. How have you inspired people in your workplace? Or how has a leader inspired you? So this is just to think about past managers, or if you're a manager, how do you inspire your teams? Or, how has a past manager inspired you to do great things? These are some references. Um, Usually have about 8 or 10. I also have some videos that I'll be adding in the mini module summary. Thank you all and have a great week.